Now we are going to see a didactical example of a consolidated balance sheet, okay? So in this report here, we have a comparison between 2 years and then the change in percentage. You are going to see that these reports, they are very simplified, okay? So when you analyze when you finish the exercise regarding the chart of accounts, you are going to have a new one after the end of this part of the module to create the balance sheet for your company in English, of course. And then just have this in mind. They are very simplified, okay? So we have here the first group, cash and cash equivalents. Cash equivalents are equivalentes de caixa, okay? So any investment that has a short-term liquidity. In our chart of accounts, we had, for example, savings account, certificates of deposit. They would be included here. Short-term financial assets, okay, so other investments with short-term liquidity. Accounts receivable, same term we used. Inventories, same term we used also. Other current assets. And then in the end here we have the total current assets. Continuing here, we have property, plant, and equipment net. Remember that in the chart of accounts class, I mentioned that ativo fixo in English was called PPE, or property, plant, and equipment. So this is what we have in this example. And the term net means it's already net from the accumulated depreciation, okay? It's already deducting the accumulated depreciation. Then we have goodwill, net, that we have already seen also. Other intangible assets, also net, from amortization in this case. Outros ativos intangíveis. Long-term financial assets. Long-term financial assets, investimentos de longo prazo. Deferred tax assets. Deferred tax assets. This one we didn't have in our example. It means impostos diferidos. Remember that tax always means impostos e não taxas, okay? Other non-current assets. And then we have the total non-current assets. The next account, total assets, that is simply the sum of total current assets and total non-current assets. Now we are going to see the liabilities group. We have here short-term borrowings. Short-term borrowings. Remember that we saw the term borrow as tomar emprestado? So borrowing means empréstimo. Short-term borrowings, empréstimos de curto prazo. Then we have here accounts payable. Accounts payable, we have already seen. Income taxes, that we have already seen also. Imposto de renda, pagar. Accrued liabilities and provisions. Então são despesas provisionadas. Quando a gente não falaria em português passivos, que seria a tradução literal provisionados. Ou a tradução para um balanço em português seria despesas provisionadas. Other current liabilities. And then we have here total current liabilities. In the non-current group, we have long-term borrowings. Long-term borrowings. Empréstimos de longo prazo. Pensions and similar obligations, okay? So imagine that some companies, they have a retiring scheme for senior employees that they keep paying part of a private pension plan, okay? So this would be something related to that. Or they keep paying their health insurance, for example. This is a long-term expense, okay? A long-term liability. Deferred tax liabilities, impostos diferidos, other non-current liabilities, então outros passivos não circulantes. And then we have the total non-current liabilities. In the equity group, we have minority interests. Minority interests, that in Portuguese would be participação de acionistas minoritários. Ok? Participação de acionistas minoritários. Shareholders' equity, that we have already seen. And the sum of total current liabilities, total no current liabilities, and equity is this number here that matches with our total assets. Okay, so in the end of this part of this module, you're going to do an exercise in order to create the balance sheet for your company. See you in the next class.